Hey there, and welcome to today's First Step Flowers session. I'm your host, Joseph Massey, and today we're going to be diving into a rather fruitful tablescape together. Welcome to the Grape-Scape. Let's begin by taking a look at our flower recipe for today's project and, of course, the tools that we require, before I extend a very warm invitation to you to join me step by step as together we dive into recreating the Grape-Scape. Flower recipe is up first today, and we're beginning with Bailey Rose, one of my absolute favourites, that gorgeous cocoa colour. Then we're moving on to Quicksand, and we've got some Sand Dune Rose as well to finish off our trifecta. Moving on now to Saint Liege Marron Carnation, we have some beautiful Fritillaria, Uva Vulpis right here. We're combining that with just a touch of this peachy Achillea, and finishing with some Eustoma Blue Chateau. For our tools today, you will need a number of bud vases, enough to dress the table or surface that you wish to decorate. And, well, frankly, that's it. Just gather together your bud vases and then you are good to go. Step 1 is all about setting the stage, and first up we're going to place our bud vases down the centre of our table or across the surface that we want to decorate. You want to cluster them roughly in kind of cute small little groups, but it's not an exact science, just do it so it feels natural to you and so it looks aesthetically pleasing. Now on to the fun bit. It's time for us to take our fantastic muscat grapes and cluster them down the table. Now when I'm designing for this Grape-Scape, I'm picturing it will need to be in situ for maybe a good 6 to 12 hours, enough for a party or a celebration. So don't worry, all of this fruit will not be in position for too long at all. If you do feel that maybe you want to be a little bit more cautious, you can pop a cloth or a piece of cellophane underneath the fruit or vases. Once we've got our grapes and indeed our peaches in position, it's now time to move on to our next step. We're going to be using Achillea as our first flower, taking a stem, trimming the bottom of the stem on a 45-degree angle to really increase that surface area, and then simply place it lightly and delicately through the bud vases. Now, this is really important. For every single flower that we're using today, when you see me putting it in just one vase, I'm duplicating that across the length of the tablescape in all of my bud vases, just as you can see right here. With our Achillea in position, it's now time for the big boys. I'm going to be using a collection of gorgeous coppery hued roses in today's tablescape. I'm starting with the fantastic Bailey, which I think is such a mellow, gorgeous brown copper tone, an absolute favourite of mine in the summer, and I'm going to be combining that with a more nude, softer hued rose. This is the fantastic Quicksand that we'll be using here today. Finally, I'm going to really oomph up that colour saturation by using another summer favourite of mine. This rose is Sand Dune. Now with all of our stems, we're taking off all of the leaves, trimming them on a 45-degree angle, and then placing them directly into the bud vases, which of course have been filled with clean, fresh water. What you see me doing here is distributing the colour evenly to create an even spread of colour and texture across our tablescape. Time now for a little bit more colour variation and indeed a little bit of texture. Here I am using my Saint Liege Marron Carnation, which I think is just a subtle hue that is really required in this design here today. I think it balances beautifully between the lightness of our Quicksand and that saturation that we find in our Sand Dune roses. We're going to continue this colour blending now in step 5 using our Blue Chateau Eustoma, also known as Blue Chateau Lysianthus, taking each stem, fluffing it out, and of course trimming it on a 45-degree angle before inserting them delicately into the bud vases. Now I'm okay with tucking some of these blooms just a little bit under some of the roses. This will provide elevation to our more statement primary flowers, the roses that we've used, and also help blend this colour beautifully across the tablescape. For a final touch, I'm going to be adding in a little bit of movement, and here I have my fantastic Fritillaria available all the way through spring right until early summer. I'm going to let these dance and float around the tablescape, keeping them a little bit longer when I insert them into the bud vases. It's important to note that every vase that we use in this composition is fully filled with clean fresh water, and all the stems that we're using obviously go directly into that water, so they'll last and look beautiful for a very good length of time. Let's now style this into our fantastic tablescape. Plates go on, of course any glasses and cutlery you want on there as well. Napkins go on at this stage too, but we can do a final little touch. How about taking a handful of gorgeous roses, trimming the heads quite short, so maybe only an inch or so on them, and then placing them directly on the tabletop. Now this is a great little technique. They won't last too long, maybe good for around 4 to 6 hours, so perfect to place just before your guests arrive. Thank you so very much for joining me today for our first Steps Flowers session today. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned a few cool flowery hints and tricks too. If you've got any questions on the session, drop them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Until then, have a good one, take care, and I'll see you on our next session together very soon. Have a good one.